Morning, Commander fans. I'm back again with another video. Said I was going to start trying to do more videos. So this morning I was a little more motivated to do a video as far as having Stefon Diggs versus having Brandon Aiyuk. And I was cool with the whole Aiyuk thing at first when everything was jumping off. But he kind of went off the rails a little bit, which I didn't, which really started to be like, all right, you're doing too much, kid. And then once he kind of took the jab at Jaden, after Jaden probably reached out to him to say, hey, man, like, this is my squad. I'm going to get you here, but you got to chill with that social media stuff. And, yeah, then he said what he said about Jaden and hiding behind his mom. And that was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Even in D.C. or the DMV area, we ain't going to tolerate that. So, yeah, that's probably where everything shifted. You know what I mean? Like, Jaden probably was his saving grace.
There are police reports.
Because he even made a video taking shots at, like, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, which, AP has high regard, holds John Lynch in high regard. Because he kind of, he worked with him. He was mentored by him as far as this whole GM thing is concerned. So I think Jaden was trying to, hey, look, man, you upset in the front office, chill, bro. This is my squad, but you got to chill. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, AP is the one that still pulls the strings. He's going to pull the strings to get you here. So as far as the conversation goes, Diggs, in my opinion, is the better receiver. Granted, he's been in the league longer and, you know what I'm saying, has, had more time to put up, more stats and be where he is in his career. As far as Aiyuk, I think it's like going into his sixth season, but he missed last year, which probably is going to set him back even further. But even at this point in his career, if you go look at the stats, Brandon Aiyuk isn't even... He isn't even, his stats don't even cover half of what Stefon Diggs has done in this league thus far. And that's not a knock on Aiyuk, but I was having a conversation and I was kind of explaining that when it comes to Kyle Shanahan's offense, you don't really have a number one receiver. And if they did, the name you always heard out there in San Fran was Debo. Not, like I said, not to take anything away from Aiyuk, but that system doesn't really require a number one receiver. Remember, we dealt with it here. You know what I mean? Not to say dealt with like it was a bad thing, but, that was... We had Kyle Shanahan as our offensive coordinator, and we saw how his offense worked. I mean, guys like Aldrick Robinson, I want to say Armstrong also, Anthony Armstrong, they were balling in that offense. Like, he could take a third, fourth tier receiver and put him in a second tier with his offense. That's just how good he was at scheming things up. So, like I said, that's not a knock on Aiyuk, but my caution is what happens when he gets outside of that system. Is he truly a number one that everybody has him pegged to be? Or is he just benefiting from the system? I mean, like, let's keep it a buck. Would he really come here and be that guy? You know what I mean? Especially and versus Diggs, it's like, man, Diggs has been a consistent 1,000-yard guy, even though he's played with the likes of like Josh Allen and C.J. Stroud and Kirk Cousins. You know what I mean? Like, still, his numbers hold true, and he's improved a lot of those offenses once he went there. So you can say 3 teams in three years, but guess what? Dude was still putting up numbers, yeah. And those teams were offensive powerhouses. So I'll say I like Diggs over Aiyuk, because then it does bring a sense of leadership to the room, and it also gives Antonio Williams 2 receivers that he could really learn from. You know what I mean? As far as McLaurin and Diggs. So that's just my take. Like I said, wanted to do a quick video. Nothing long, nothing stretched out, saying too much and not saying too little. But just to let it be known, I'm still here. I'm still doing videos. I'm still invested in my team. Much love to all you Commander fans, and I'll holler at y'all later. Let's go. Hail to the Commanders. Peace.